Alright, so here it is. We actually got the Tu-1. Now, this was while I was flying with Postal. He does a stream every Saturday, like I mentioned before. We didn't link up on Friday this week, just schedules didn't align, but we did get a couple of sorties in, and this particular flight was him trying out his new 302, and I finally got to fly my Tu-1. This aircraft is a interesting airframe in the fact that it has very strong firepower in the form of two 23mm cannons and two 45mm cannons mounted in the nose. Now it has two 50 cal machine guns, one on the top and one on the bottom of the tail here, so it does have a bit of a stinger on it, but really the only thing that this aircraft has really going for it is going to be the overall firepower, the massive range of those 45s, and a good amount of hit points. When it comes to maneuverability, altitude performance, speed, it's not winning in any particular realm. It's not bad, but it's definitely not in the upper echelon across the gambit of tier 7 heavies. I've done the comparison of all of them, and it's just meh. But you get those guns to hit, and man, they're absolutely amazing. And it takes me a little bit in this battle to finally get a hang of them, but once they start to hit, it really starts to show how effective these guns can be. And there's a good hit on the Tornado, I think that was, and on the 9U. And I just burned past him, I ignored him, I knew I lit him on fire. He burns him out for Flames of the Sky, and we're coming in on this 295, and when those 45s hit, oof, absolutely devastates that airframe and allowed us to be able to pick up this airfield. Now, we're trying to feed Postal heavy fighters because he needs to get 3 of them for the current step he's on for the Tu-1, and he needs to get them in a single battle. Ooh, there was a good connect on that target right there. I see this heavy inbound, and I'm like, hey, Postal, you know, this guy's low health, maybe you can come in and grab him, but I gotta try and get him back to him without actually getting taken out myself. So what we're doing here is actually going to be a trade. So he's got this heavy with his 302, and now there's the P-51 that he was talking about a second ago. Trying to make contact with these shells, but the best we can do is get a couple of hits with the 23s and then a little bit on the tail gunners. So we can flip back around and see if we can help these guys out. But it looks like there's a lot of air defense aircraft vectoring in and a player in a P-51. I vector in to get the final bits of kill on him here, and most of the work was done by the 23s. But look at that, 2 volleys from the 45s hit that 265 rather, and absolutely decimated the target. I think that's the 3rd heavy he needed to kill, so now all heavies are going to be up for grabs for us. I would like to be able to take out that 9U, and oof, I'm really starting to sync up with these 45mm cannons. So what I kind of drew a comparison here is if this is the precursor for the release of the Russian heavy line, I'm getting a vibe here that this is going to be a lot like kind of the Russian derby fighters, like the Yak-9U, Yak-9, Yak-7, the Su-9, that whole line where you get those big cannons that are kind of, you know, really powerful multi-role, but with heavy cannons that can hit at long range, kind of the sniper planes, except this is going to be in the form of a heavy. So you're going to get more altitude performance, more speed, but you're going to have similar guns in a lot of ways. Now, this isn't a 9U, obviously. We got 2 45s opposed to a single 45, so obviously the Russian heavy is very heavy Russian heavy fighters, so that's what we're really looking at here. Now, unfortunately, we did not get the military facilities, or the mining plant rather, so now we're going to start heading towards the center and doing our best to hold what we do have and keep the enemy engaged in these areas. That way, our ground attack aircraft can start working on that mining plant. Now that I can go after a heavy, I see this Mosquito here.
I'll help you with him.
Postal decides he's going to come in and help me, but really he's there just in case my 45s don't hit, because those 45s are devastating, but they got to make contact.
And you coming my way? Never mind. There's Corsair.
We're trying to kind of sync up our movements here so that way we can back each other up, because like I said, there's a lot of RNG that comes from this aircraft's cannons. I wanted to feed Postal that kill there, so I went ahead and moved on to these targets. I get a good hit with the 45s on that tornado. Kind of moving on from this engagement, trying to find another way to come back on that Corsair. Letting the tail gunner do a little bit of work because I do have defensive fire expert on him. Postal ended up taking out that tornado, so I got 125 of the points. And now that Corsair seems to be giving him a hard time, so I'd like to give him a hand here and get my 45s to get a good clip on him. And that is all I can really ask for in a lot of instances, is getting that big chunk off the enemy and then rolling through when they're those kind of multi-roll or light fighters. But when it comes to heavies, I almost have to kill them because I'm not going to be able to outrun them. We just picked up Raptor Duo there, so overall a great match for us and really happy with the results. Just grabbed Winged Legend, and we managed to also go ahead and grab the mining facility, so that puts us in a good spot as well. And now we just picked up air supremacy. So this battle is pretty much over, so we're just trying to pick up what we can from here. Unfortunately, I can tell you that there isn't going to be a lot going on for the rest of this battle, because right now I'm tracking on these two bomber aircraft, figuring I could be able to help out with these two, but as you can see, they're getting attrited away pretty easily by the multitude of aircraft in this area, including the player-controlled P-51. At this point, I decide I can head back to the middle and give him a hand, but again, like I said, this battle is pretty much done, and Postal, I think, is still working on a couple of targets over there. Here we go, solid victory for us. Let's get back to the hangar, and I'll do a little bit of a conversation about what we've got going on with the aircraft and take a look at the post-game results. Alright, so here we are back in the hangar. 1,500 personal points. We got Wing Legend, and the credit income is not too bad. This is a Tier 7 premium aircraft, so we managed to get about 200,000 credits. We killed a total of 9 aircraft and got a decent amount of capture points, but really it's that cannon power. And like I said, I've compared this with all the other Tier 7 heavies that are available in the game, and we're just not going to be overcoming the speed characteristics that you have on your 109Zs or the maneuverability you're going to see from the F7F or the overall speed of that aircraft either, including its altitude performance. The only place where we even start to get competitive is just going to be in those cannons, those big 45s you see hanging off the nose, and then the 23s are actually sitting in the wing roots of the airframe, a little bit harder to see, and then we've got those 50 cal machine guns in the back. But is it worth the grind? Yes, if you can get through it without having to spend a bunch of money in order to get those tickets or those, what are they, certificates, sure. I think it's fun. It's a nice kind of novelty aircraft, and I've enjoyed the battles I've played in it. But there's other Tier 7 premiums that are a little bit better, and honestly, I kind of prefer a Tier 8 just for credit grinding and crew experience. But aside from that, not a bad plane. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next one.